Welcome back. In this lesson, what we're going to be doing is taking our contratiempo technique and putting it into the context of a specific style of flamenco. In this case, we're working in the style of alegrias. So when we hear alegrias sung, and often when we're dancing to the cante, we hear this compás, which is 12 and 2, 3 and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Remember that when we're doing contratiempo, what's going to happen is we're going to hear, when there's palmas, a more straight beat, still of course in 12 to accompany us, but not doing all the counters because we're doing the counters. So what's going to happen is you're going to start to feel that the beat is all downbeats in the music and all downbeats in the accompanying palmas, so that we as dancers can play around and inject that contra, which is the upbeat or the counter beat. Okay, so the palmas that you're going to hear in the track that we're going to use, and if you're working with live musicians, are going to switch from doing this to straight. Okay, so you're going to be feeling a straight beat, hitting accents more generally on 12, 3, 6, 8, 10. All right? So what we're going to be doing is taking the two different techniques that we learned in our first lesson of this chapter, looking at the contratiempo in place, so doing this one, and doing the contratiempo that we did when we traveled, which is more of a straight counter beat the whole time. For example. And we're going to put those together into a sequence. I'm going to challenge you by having us do the switch from one to the other and back, not on the beginning of a compás, but instead on our 6. So in the middle of a compás. It adds a little extra layer of complexity, and it's another challenge for you as well, okay, to get really, really comfortable with the compás. And then at the end, we're going to be adding a different technique of footwork, a different way of using our feet that I like to call the drill. And the drill is simply a golpe, opposite heel, heel combination. The drill, under that title, there's a whole lesson about it for those of you who are online studio members in the foundational, the essential footwork course. So there's a whole lesson dedicated to the drill there. Okay, so it's golpe, tacon, tacon. So what we're going to do here is really just break down the sequence and then try it with a track that allows us to practice in the style of alegrias. So let's look at the sequence first, and then we're going to try it with our music. So we're going to start with our left golpe, starting with our first variation where we're stationary. So we're going to do this. 12 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, and that's it, because from there we're going to be going into the second variation of our contra, which is the traveling variation. Okay? So one more time what we just did. On the left, starting on the left, 7, 8, 9, 10, E. And now this foot is going to start going around. So what we did here is 12 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, and now we're in. And 8 and 9 and 10 and 11 and 12 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10, 11. So what we're doing is 1/2 compás, and then we're going around for 1.5 compás, and then we're closing to come back to our first variation for 4 full compás. Okay, so let's look at this first 1/2 compás and then 1.5 compasses to go around. So altogether, we're looking at 2 full compás that are bringing together our 2 different techniques. So again, we have 12 and 1 and 2 and 3 and and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and 10, and 11, and 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11. So that's our closing. I wanted to slow down right there so that you could really see what I'm doing. Instead of continuing to go on to another compás, we're closing. So we do and 10, 11, and now we're going to go back to the beginning. 12, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and 10, and 11. And we're going to keep going from there. Okay? Let's get up to that point again. So remember, 1/2 compás here. We switch. When we get to our 6, we go around for 1/2 compás, and then a whole compás. We come back, we close, and 10, 11, 12. And now we're in to our stationary variation. Okay? So here we go. 7, 8, 9, 10. E. And 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and 10, and 11, and 12, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and 10, 11, 12. Now we're going to stay here. Again, 12, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, again, 12, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 3, and right there on that 6, so again, changing on our 6, we're going to go into our drill. And the drill is going to finish out this subida, okay? So remember, a subida is when you bring up the tempo, and when you generally use a subida is at the end of a escovilla to close your escovilla, or sometimes we use it at the end of a letra to call in the next section. In this case, that's what we're doing, and you're going to hear that when I play the music. What's happening is we've danced all the letras of alegrias that we wish to dance, and so at the end of our last letra, after its little tail, its little cortilla, so the end of a letra in alegrias, we do this little subida, and then we're going to close. We're going to close with a very simple llamada, okay? And from there, we call in the next section. In this case, that's often a silencio, but you can also call it an escovilla, depending on what you've decided to do next, okay? So that's how we're using our subida. That said, you can always use a subida at the end of an escovilla, at the end of a long footwork section, for example, okay, to bring up the energy and close and go on to whatever else you're going to do, okay? All right, so what do we have? We have a 1/2 compás in place, 1.5 compás to come around, 3.5 compás in place, and then on that and 6, we're on the right side, we're going to switch and go into our drill. I'm facing this way because I want to be in this position for the llamada. I'm going to do it here just so you can see me, and then we'll put it back into its orientation. So the last compás, we're on the right side, we do 12, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so now we've done 3.5 compás in our drill. Remember, the drill is golpe, opposite heel, heel. And again, golpe, opposite heel, heel. Okay, I'm not going to go into the drill any more than that because you have a whole lesson dedicated to that, again, in the Essential Footwork course. But we're going to be applying that work from that lesson to this combination, okay? So let's recap. Let's do the whole thing from the beginning, nice and slow, and then a little bit more fluid, and then with our music. So starting on your left, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 12, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and 10, and 11, and 12, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and 10, 11, 12. 3, 6, 8, 10, 12. 3, 6, 8, 10, 12. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last one. 12. 3, and now 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last compass. 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So finishing 9, 10 with your 2 golpes, okay? So again, it's 3.5 compass of that drill. The transition into the drill, just to reiterate that and focus on that for a second, is a double golpe, like you're going to keep going. So coming from here, the last stationary contra. That double golpe is the beginning of our drill, but it's kind of like you're going to keep going. If I kept going, I would do and 6 and 7, right? So it's easy in the sense that you're going to do what you would normally do if you were to keep doing the same thing. The only difference is after the double golpe, the other heel comes up and we start our drill. So instead of doing and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 and 11, etc., we do and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, etc. The drill can be felt different ways depending on how you're treating your compás. So sometimes we feel it where we're really feeling the 12, 3, 6, 8, 10, but we can also feel it in threes if we slow it down, which is what we're doing here. So we're feeling our 3, 6, 9, 12, 3, 6, 9, 12. So every 3 beats. So it's da, 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 or 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so it's every 3 beats. That's how you're feeling your compás there, or the accents in your compás. So that's important because up until that moment, you're really feeling your 5 accents, 12, 3, 6, 8, 10. But when you switch over to that drill, you're feeling every 3. You're feeling 12, 3, 6, 9. Okay, so you want to emphasize 12, 3, 6, 9 instead of 12, 3, 6, 8, 10. The reason that that's a kind of a fun thing to do is it changes the rhythm and the vibe a little bit, allowing for some variety in what you're offering, okay? You can certainly go faster and continue to accent your 5 accents if you want to, but it's nice to sometimes mix it up so that it's not too much of the same thing. Okay, last thing we need to look at now is how to close. So we have closed the drill, and now we need to close the whole section, right? Which we're going to do with a very simple llamada that's in 1 compás. So again, we finished the last 9, 10 of our drill with golpes. 9, 10, 11. We let the 12 go. 12 and 2, 3. And now we're into the position of a quebrada. We're going to turn 7, 8, 9, 10. And simply finish with the arm and the chin up. Remember that also you have technique courses going over quebradas. So there's a course that's a turns course. In that course, you have a whole lesson dedicated to quebradas. So to get more information about those, visit that lesson so that you can apply it to this sequence. Now the reason that when I'm doing the drill, I tend to turn a little bit to my right diagonal is because when I'm finished, I'm in the right position for my quebrada. Because the quebrada is not forward this way, it's forward this way. If I'm turning left, my left shoulder wants to be forward and my torso pulls open to the right. So I'm at this diagonal. And it would be the same if I was going to the right, my right shoulder would be forward, I'm pouring to my right, left shoulder opens back, and I'm tilted, okay? So that's why if we're in this position just slightly, and we finish 9, 10, 11, 12, and 2, 3, I'm already in the perfect position for my quebrada. And all I have to do is, and 2, 3, we cross 6, we turn 8, and we finish ra on 10. I am doing and 2, 3 and not 1, 2, 3 because of the way the guitar plays in Alegria. So in Alegrias, we want to make sure that we're always, or in any style, that you're always adhering to what the guitar is doing. And we're hearing in the guitar, da, da, da. We're not hearing ram, bum, ba. So in this specific moment, we're hearing da, da, da. So we want to do that too. The da, da, da is similar to what we do when we're doing palmas when they're singing. 12 and 2, 3, right? Same idea, okay? So instead of doing 1, 2, 3, to set up the llamada, we do 12 and 2, 3. And for my footwork there, I'm doing a golpe, heel, planta. Da, da, da. And then crossing, close to the other foot, tucking my tailbone, going to my other diagonal, coming back to my original diagonal, ra, and finishing on my 10 with everything lifted. So that is our whole sequence. We're going to do it in its entirety together, and then we're going to do it up to speed with our music so that you can really hear how it goes with the style of Alegrias, with the music for Alegrias. And I'm going to have you listen to how it's coming out of a letra, the very finale of a letra, and then into the subida, which closes the whole cante section of our dance, and then leads us into the next section, which in this case is a silencio. But first, let's do it together again, start to finish, at our own tempo, okay? So let's get our skirts or shirts. Make sure you have a nice poise. You're forward in your planta, and you're lifted, and your legs are soft. Here we go. 7, 8, 9, 10, and 12. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and 10, 11, 12. Okay, so now let's do this with our music. Again, I'm going to play the music from the end of the letra that we would be coming out of, and then we'll start where we just started, so at the beginning of our subida. And when we finish, I'm going to let the music play for just a moment so that you can hear how this closes this section. So we've closed our block of cante, our block of singing, and opens up a new section. Because not only do I want you to understand how to do the footwork and give you interesting sequences, I want you to know how to use it and how it feels within the context of guitar and cante with your baile, with your dancing. Okay, so let's listen and dance at the same time. Okay, so keep your ears open as you're dancing. Also, as you're dancing, it's important to always listen as a general rule so that you don't separate yourself from the music. Okay, so we're not dancing isolated from what's happening in our music. We want to feel, especially with counters, when the guitar is giving us our heavy strums on those big accents so that we know where we are in the compás all the time. Okay, so always ears open as we dance. Okay, let's try it. So first listening.